You were talking about the car that was going around for Google.
Yeah.
Doing the.
All the street view,
Yeah.
those are all taken by cars that are fully autonomous. And certain cities already have laws passed to allow taxi cabs that are fully autonomous.
So you just get in the car and it takes you wherever there's nobody else in there?
Potentially, there may be an operator who's not driving the car. Okay, so they may require the presence of a human, another person, just in case something the computer cannot handle, to be in the car. But that person will just be sitting there browsing the web, doing something else, and the car will be driving itself. Yep.
It's like they already have a prototype of fighter jet that's not going to.
Well, UAVs are
It's
no
not
longer.
a UAV; it's a full fighter.
Yeah, but that's just a big UAV, right? I mean,
Right.
the concept is the same.
Different.
Yep.
If that's so, that will happen in future. So I wonder what will happen to DMV. There'll be no driving going on there.
But DMV will be
And a lot of people will be out of jobs.
Right.
Well, that's true and not so true, because the
true.
DMV will change its nature to certifying these autonomous vehicles. In other words, they will have people to go to the manufacturers' sites. They will have testing for these autonomous vehicles. So they will have their own test sites where they will see whether an autonomous vehicle can respond to a jaywalker, okay, to a car that is stopped like suddenly in front of the autonomous car. So they will still have their jobs.
So
It's just that it's no longer the same as what we know DMV as today.
how would you go and take? What kind of driving test would you take if the car drives by itself?
Maybe you don't have to anymore.
Voice command
They're
test?
probably testing the programs that do it.
Yes,
The
they'll be
license on you.
testing the program instead of the human driver. But as a user, see, you're no longer an operator. You're no longer a driver or an operator of a vehicle. You will just be the end user of a vehicle. You may not even own your car, because there's no reason to own a car anymore. Because every morning, if you just have to wake up in the morning, and you don't have to go to the terminal. You just say, okay, need transportation to work. And then, whatever service you subscribe to will send an autonomous vehicle at the right time to your doorstep, and have the car door open and ready for you. Right? Why keep your car in your garage and maintain your car when you don't have to do that?
Right.
Yep.
I actually have a question about what it's like there. It's a little bit further on, but
Okay.
I'm wondering actually what the difference is between the Google Drive and say like something like Dropbox or another service like that.
Okay, we'll address that. I'm going through a big digression right here. Okay, so, but what I really want to say is, my son did not believe me. My son said, no, that technology cannot possibly be ready by the time I grow up. Okay, now growing up means he's 18 and he'll be able to do things by himself legally and stuff. Okay, and he did not believe me. Okay, I think it's going to happen in 5 years before he's 18. These autonomous cars will be reality. Okay, first, it's just like Prius. Okay, if you think back, when did you see the first Prius? A while back, it looked like a really funky little car, and it was expensive. Very few people trusted that technology. Thinking, the battery will die very soon. This kind of technology requires too much computer input. It's not going to last. It's not going to work. And these days, how many Prius do you see on the road? Okay, lots, right? Because it has proven to be reliable, proven to save money, and so on and so forth. I think the same thing is going to happen to fully autonomous vehicles. It just takes time, for people to adopt, the technology. I'm drawing this, because it's the bell curve. So right now we are seeing the very beginning tail of the bell curve, the edge of the bell curve, and we are slowly moving to the bell, the portion, the majority portion, and it will be there. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Yep.
About the safety.
The safety, I think autonomous vehicles can only be safer because the autonomous vehicle can gauge the distance between the car and the object in front of it far more quickly than we can. In other words, if the car in front slams on the brake, an autonomous vehicle can respond to that a whole lot faster than we can. Yep.
Couldn't the argument even be made that they're all interconnected?
They
So
can
know
be.
before the other one breaks that it was going to.
Yep. And even more so because you can, if the computers can network and share information, you can actually sense what the car that is 5 cars ahead of you is seeing. So if that car is seeing an obstacle or a car accident or something that that requires emergency braking, that car can send the signal to 10, 20 cars behind it.
Like a quick SOS kind of.
Yeah, but the 20 cars behind that car can all apply brakes at exactly the same time, so there's no delay, and they can probably all stop in time, and not hit the first car.
So if they can do that with cars, then they can just do that with ships and everything else?
They can do it with anything. Cars are actually much more difficult than airplanes and ships because they have to drive in a much more confined area, and there are more rules to apply to driving than flying or sailing or driving a boat.
When you're out on the water, the weather and stuff is unpredictable. Would that be like
Right.
more calculations as far as autonomous?
Well, as long as as long as you're connected to the web, you'll be okay. Yep.
So you believe it'll be like Minority Report or Johnny Cab and Schwarzenegger, where cars are autonomous to that extent in the future?
I think so. I think that's going to happen in 5 to 10 years. And though, yep, go ahead.
Does it say airplanes except for landing and takeoff or all?
Yes, passenger airplanes can be fully autonomous already, except for landing. Yep. Well, I think the landing part, I think they can do it. It's just that they don't trust it enough to let it do it unless it is an emergency situation. Yep, go ahead.
This is a little off the track, but
It's okay. We're already off the track.
But movie stars. Oh, the movie Star Wars. They had turbine. That's how they flew or how they traveled.
Like hovering vehicles?
Hovering vehicles?
Like the
Yeah.
land speeders.
And they were keeping it a secret. They were developing something in secret.
In Star Wars or in reality?
They were copying it from the movie, or while they were developing the movie, they were developing it in reality.
Yeah, there's a company in Davis, doing research on flying cars, but they have been doing it for the past 20 years or so. It's not moving anywhere, not nearly as quickly as what we are talking about here.
I think that's mostly due to the fact that a wheel is much more efficient.
It's way more efficient, exactly. Unless you get to the dirt road and stuff like that, then it's different. All right. Well, getting back to what we are talking about here. But you can see how quickly things are changing. I mean, what you learned in this class will be obsoleted in 5 years. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that you have to keep learning and keep researching on your own to keep up with technology. All right. Okay, this is the one thing that we were about to say. Is clustering. Now, clustering is a very interesting idea. The technology utilizes one or more similar or identical server to provide reliability and performance. A cluster can often allow servers to be added or removed dynamically, making the cluster as a whole highly scalable. Now, in this particular paragraph, what I want you to visualize, as an analogy, will be insects that are hive-based, okay, like ants or bees and stuff like that. That's what it is, okay. In other words, let's say you have a particular task, okay. There's a dead insect, on the ground, and the ants want to move it, back to the nest, okay, back to the hive. If you only have 5 ants, they can get a job done, but it'll take longer, right? If you have 10 ants, it will get it done, twice as fast. You have 20 ants, it will get a job done in a quarter of the time. It's the same thing here, okay? So each element or each item in a cluster is an individual item, but all the individuals can cooperate to solve a common problem. Yep.
I heard that the PS3 network or whatever is actually the largest cloud supercomputer in the world?
Yes, the Air Force was using that until Sony says no third-party operating system. In that case, I don't know. I did not follow up. And find out how the Air Force responded to that policy change from Sony. Yep.
They just didn't update the systems.
Oh, they just don't update the system?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of other even non-governmental people, just people with a lot of money trying to trade in the commodities market or something like that, can buy server time.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, clustering is a very useful technology because if you lose one item or one node in a cluster, it does not shut down the entire system. It's like you have 10 ants moving that one dead insect back to the nest. If someone kills one of the 10 ants, you have 9 left. So the job will be done a little bit slower at that point, but it will still be done. And clustering technology is like that. Okay, you can dynamically add more items to a cluster to improve the performance. And when the performance is not needed anymore, you can remove elements in a cluster so that those elements can be used somewhere else where performance is needed. Okay, so this is usually utilized also when we talk about cloud technology. From the user's perspective, cloud can offer storage. So that really goes back to your question about Dropbox. So Dropbox and Google Drive can both do the same thing, allowing you to store whatever you want to store on the cloud service. My cell phone, is hooked up to my Dropbox. So when I take pictures, on my cell phone, those pictures are automatically uploaded to Dropbox. So I can, as soon as they are uploaded, I can just go ahead and delete those pictures from my phone, so it doesn't use up storage on my phone.
What?
Sorry?
What?
Yep.
I was under the impression from talking to another instructor that data centers don't keep all their eggs in one basket. They have them
Yes.
physically in different locations.
If they do it correctly, that's the way it should be. Physically, they are not at one single location.
But you just said clustering is where they're all grouped up together.
Well, they're logically grouped together. They're not. They may or may not be physically grouped together. Okay. Now, what I just said a little bit earlier, I think most of you heard what I said and understood what I said, but you may not understand the implication of that. Okay, if I take a picture, on my cell phone, I don't even have to do a single thing. It is automatically uploaded to Dropbox. Okay. Now, the implication of that is not only the fact that I can save, storage on my cell phone, because there's only so much I can store on my cell phone. The implication is also, let's say, I'm involved in a car accident, okay, and I use my cell phone to take pictures of, elements of the accident, and the other driver decided, he or she, felt that, okay, these photographs are implying, that the fault is on the other vehicle, and did not want that to happen. So, accidentally that person, knocked me over, and accidentally, stepped on my cell phone, and accidentally go like, oops, I guess your cell phone is now broken, and those images are no longer around. As long as I got enough time for those pictures to be uploaded to Dropbox, they're already up in the cloud.
It's all right. I still got the pictures.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
That happened with my son. He was going in Walnut.
Okay.
In his car hit him. And the guy stopped by. He apologized. But my nephew, who was my son,